Going abroad means you get to experience a wide range of opportunities, from sightseeing, getting to experience a new culture, and seeing a bunch of attractions and experiences that you wouldn't elsewhere get to experience whilst you're at home. In my instance, it means purposely dragging my girlfriend across the country to go and explore one thing: theme parks. That possibility became a reality when me and my girlfriend got to go to Spain. On our holiday, we got to go and experience PortAventura World. Located within Salou, this theme park has many great attractions, including its own water park and a second theme park we'll get onto later. From top thrill rides that will make you want to burst with excitement, to quality shows and attractions that will provide the whole family with a great source of entertainment, PortAventura has something for everybody, not to mention along with a great selection of themes and general presentation at the park that is really eye-catching compared to what the likes will be found in the United Kingdom. So in this video, I thought we'd recount our experience from the 2 days that we got to spend at the park, plus also provide a bit of a guide on what attractions you should be experiencing if you're going to be heading out to PortAventura in the near future. Shambhala, shammy. Shambhala. One of the greatest rides, and in my personal opinion, that you could ever experience as a theme park enthusiast. Probably the statement point of a theme park is their statement ride. Like with Alton Towers and Nemesis, Thorpe Park, Hyperia, Europa Park, you can now say Voltron Nevera. PortAventura, it is definitely Shambhala. Again, we'll go on to a ride in a similar park in a minute. But Shambhala, a hypercoaster opening back in 2012, 249 feet tall, similar to the likes of Silver Star at Europa Park and Hyperion at Energylander. Funny enough, the records set by Silver Star at Europa Park were beaten by Shambhala, which was then beaten by Energylandia and Hyperion. So very interesting there. But Shambhala, what an absolutely great experience of an attraction this is. If there's one ride you could ever do at PortAventura, go do Shambhala, because it's absolutely worth the time. It is a unique experience in the sense of you are 249 feet in the air. You kind of, because bear in mind, the area that you're in is China. You're meant to be going through the Himalayas. You can tell that by the theming and the entrance as you go into the actual Shambhala area. You know, obviously it's home to Dragon Khan and Angkor, but really the focus goes towards Shambhala. 249 feet in the air. That first drop is probably one of the best elements, if not the best element on the ride. There is also the splashdown, the helix as you come out from the drop on the ride. It's just such an amazing feeling, especially as well with a lap bar restraint in the clamshells. Now, I must admit, for me personally, it's not the most, interesting design of a lap bar, but that's the point, isn't it? It's that sense of weightlessness, that sense of feeling like you're gonna fly out of your seat, and you definitely do. And once you get over that aspect, it is such a breeze to go through. Like I said, the theming as well really goes with it, and it's just when you catch it on the right day as well with the weather, and then get a view over as you see Dragon Khan passing through on the lift hill, it is a really great experience. Like I said, my favourite ride possibly that I've ever done. It is truly a superb experience. Get yourself to PortAventura and go and experience Shambhala. Dragon Khan, probably the more disappointing aspect of China, but in my personal opinion, not actually a bad ride when we got onto it. Just a bit of a headbanger, like when you go to a Kiss concert back in 2002, but the wrong type of headbanging. Dragon Khan, developed by Bullier and Maynard, a B&M sit-down roller coaster, similar to the like of Colossus before its inversions and for its development cycle. Dragon Khan has got quite a bit of a reputation. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I think one common thing we can all agree upon is its roughness. Without a doubt, towards the second part of the roller coaster, you will definitely be going on a headbanging session. 8 inversions, coming short of Colossus at 10, and the likes of the Smiler as well. Now, in terms of theming wise, it doesn't have as much as well. It kind of plays more into a more Dragon Aztec vibe, and really it's kind of limited to its actual ride area. The station itself and the queue line, there's not real much theming at all. There's nothing really around the environment itself when you're going around the inversions to really immerse yourself into the ride. However, for what it's worth, it does have some smooth elements to it. I love the first inversion after the lift hill drop. It really helps to get you immersed into that attraction. It's just one for me that when you experience some of the other attractions around the world, it doesn't exactly have the massive thrill factor that you experience. But it's still a great ride, and still something that if you need to kill a little bit of time when Shambhala's queues are making you insane, go and experience Dragon Khan. Uncharted, the brand new attraction for PortAventura as of 2023. This is located in the far west area, currently residing with a carousel, the Silver Log Flume Ride, the Grand Canyon Rapids, Stampeder, and Tomahawk. Now, Uncharted is a very well themed attraction, mainly because it's themed around the recent film release of Uncharted based on the hit video game series. Me personally, the film was rubbish, and I don't particularly care for the theme of it, in the sense of, if the game's rubbish, the movie for me is completely boring. The ride attraction itself and the theming in that aspect is a bit of a letdown. But what isn't a bit of a letdown is the ride itself. Sure, it's a little bit short. Most of the experience you'll be staring in the dark as you fly around the coast on some LSM launches, including the sideways launch. It is the first roller coaster to actually include a sideways launch, and that is a great element. When you launch sideways into obviously the ride, you essentially go sideways, up through to a massive spike, come back around, and it just shot right back outwards. There's some great theming elements, a great use of 2D and 3D theming with some immersive screens to tell the story. However, given that he is speaking in Spanish, if you do not understand what is being said, which in my case I do not, but also as well the picture can be a little bit blurry depending on where you sat on the ride. It overall can ruin that sense of immersion. But there are some great elements to it, some great launches. I particularly loved the last bit of the ride where, as the grenade is thrown into the enemy helicopter, when you've seen it above the screen, you literally drop him backwards onto the ride and then straight back into the ride station. It's a little bit short. It does take up most of your time in the queue line. However, this is a really great indoor roller coaster and something that you definitely want to experience if you're a fan of thrills, launches, and some impressive theming set pieces as well. Hurricane Condor. It's bloody scary. Jade?
I rode it and you didn't want to.
I was too bloody scared of riding drop towers. I can take 250 feet on a roller coaster, even with a clamshell lap bar, but I'm not doing it on the drop tower. No.
So it's an Intamin ride. It's from 2005. It opened. It's a drop tower and it's 377 feet, which is 100 meters, which is crazy when you really think about it. I can't believe you didn't want to do it. I found it fantastic. The views are exquisite. It was a really cool experience, and I love the tummy drop that the ride gives you, and you almost feel your body leaping up into the air out of its restraint and then back down. And yeah, it's a really great. It's too short a cycle. It'd be nice if you got a couple drops.
Bear in mind, for a drop tower as well, if you've experienced the likes of Apocalypse at Drayton Manor, you get a choice of seating, so you can either be sat down, standing with platform, or just a complete standing choice. Now, I believe it isn't much of a case if you get a choice as to where as you sit, as to where, as much as they'll just put you wherever. However, for as high as it is, it's a great opportunity to view the park and the surrounding area. I get a really nice view of what PortAventura has to offer. Located within the Mexican area, so not a massively popular area in the sense of, you know, it's filled with rides. It's mainly covered with a lot of trees, Azteca-like theme to it. However, it's still a great attraction and definitely something for, you know, those thrill seekers, especially like of Jade. If you want to go 377 feet in the air, go be my guest. Just don't expect me to come along with you. I've been talking about the good rides. We're now going to do the bad ones. Stampeder. Now, CCI wooden roller coaster, again kind of a statement piece for PortAventura, but I think for all the wrong reasons. You can watch any video you like, most of the people will tell you this is a rough roller coaster and one that is especially brutal over the years. Now, it recently has Titan track added to make it a bit more smoother. However, for a lot of people it isn't the problem. The problem is those trains, and those trains are bloody uncomfortable. You essentially have two versions of the track, so it is a dueling wooden roller coaster. You can either go on the red side or the blue side, and it's kind of meant to be a race between these two. Now, having done both, I can easily say comfortably, if you want a smoothest possible ride, do the blue train. It is nowhere near as intense as the red one. The red one will bash you to the side. There is no real sense of padding across the trains. You will want to feel like you are back in the hospital after you've come off this ride. It is bloody a nightmare. In terms of view-wise, it's not bad. The layout itself, it's got some quite snappy elements to it. A real nice sense of pace throughout the ride. It's just like I said, if those trains were improved and really focused on comfort of the guests, it'd be a much greater attraction. And the next one I'm going to talk about is a much better example of how to build a wooden roller coaster. Tomahawk, the family wooden roller coaster, developed right by Stampeder and manages to show up in every aspect. Developed for the families, this one is a lot smoother, some really great elements. It's just a bit too short, and the train design is a bit too small. Now, when you go on this ride, you will feel the sense of like, okay, this hasn't got the same level of thrills as Stampeder. However, it does do a lot in the sense of giving you that same sense of purpose of thrills and the same sense of purpose of good theming as well. It's a relatively short queue line. We only queued around 5 to 10 minutes for the attraction.
That is true.
That is true. It was still a great experience, and also if you like your wooden roller coasters, give this a go first, ease your body into it, and then go experience the disappointment of Stampeder. Now, for a bit of clarity, when we went on this ride, I was already experiencing back pain. So imagine my face when I got to experience Furious Backo, the main ride at the front of the gates when you go into the PortAventura Park. Developed by Intamin, this is a wing rider coaster, and its main purpose is to launch you and make you feel like you want to die. It is a very weird theme, kind of like an out-of-date, over-controlled vineyard. Essentially, you get in the ride, wing floor, you're going to be sent into this little bit of a pre-show area, and then it builds up. You know you're about to launch. It happens. It's intense. You zip round a bloody corner. You zip round another corner. You go through a little barrel roll, and it's a kind of a nice element because it gives you that sense of weightlessness when you're going around. But Jesus Christ, that train rattles so much you would think it is your own baby messing around with the toys in the pram. It is an absolutely unbearable ride at the point. Like I said, I've already got back pains. I feel like I'm going to need a new spine when I come after it. It is absolutely uncomfortable. Now, in terms of the launch bit is fine. That's a good bit of excitement, a good way to get you immersed into it. It's like I said, it is just unbearable. It's rough. It will also always be probably the busiest, if not one of these busiest rides you could ever go on at a theme park because it is right by the main doors. So probably leave this towards the middle of the day if you are going to experience it. Or if you know what, just try and do it first off. Get it out of the way. Save your back and spine. Go and experience something a bit better like Chamois Bee. I urge you to go and experience Chamois Bee. I experience it. The Grand Canyon Rapids, located right opposite the Silver City Log Flume ride. Now, we've been on a lot of rapids, and I feel like it's in British culture to enjoy a good river rapids ride. However, this one, for me personally, is a massive letdown. It's way too short. The theming goes really well with the environment, but the problem is you're essentially floating in between these rock crevices. There's no real sense of like, I'm going to get wet on this ride. Sure, it can kind of have the elements if you're getting exposed by the guests on the other side of the ride, or even just some of the squirting guns that happen. But for me, it's a bit more of a lazy river. I would imagine Rumba Rapids has got more thrills in it, and that's quietly regarded as one of the worst river rapids rides you can ever experience in the world. It's not a bad ride. If you need to kill some time and also beat the summer heat, go and experience it. But in terms of the next attraction, there is definitely a bit more to experience there.
I love the rapids.
She doesn't have any sense. Silver City Log Flume ride. This is the much superior ride of the two in the area in terms of a water ride. It is a nice standard log flume. It's got 3 drops of varying degrees, especially the last one. But what I really like about it is the theme that goes into the area. You're immersed into this old abandoned lumber mill yard, would you say?
Yeah.
Kind of like a wood yard. Something to do with that. You go in these nice wooden boats. In terms of the seating on it, it's a little bit questionable because sometimes you get made to sit at the back, sometimes you get made to sit at the front. If you're in a group of 2, they don't really seem to let you sit where you want to on it, but I guess in terms of balancing out the boat, that's understandable. It's not got the best of views. The most views you're going to see is of El Diablo Tren de la Mina. But apart from that, though, it is still a decent log flume ride. And bear in mind, we don't have many of them in the UK anymore. So to get to experience that across the world, go and experience it over the log flume. In my opinion, it's a very much better ride. But there is still one more water ride that really does take the cherry on the cake in the park. Tsuki Splash. Now, if you've ever been on Tidal Wave at Thorpe Park, you will know the feeling all too well. This is a one-drop water ride here. Now, in fairness to it, in the lengthwise, it does do really well. You go through like this jungle Aztec vibe as you're going through caves, little drops before you lead up to that big finale drop. It's definitely a soaker. Try and sit on the front row if you can, because you will definitely feel the rage of the waters. I remember going on it thinking, oh, it's not going to be that bad. Getting told you have to go on with your bags. Very questionable policy there. Coming off it, soaked like a drowned rat. I was absolutely enjoying myself, and up until that point, I wasn't a very happy camper. Let's just say I was chafing in a lot of places. But definitely give Tsuki Splash a go. It is a great water ride, and it really beats out what we have here in the UK. Now, I'm not going to cover every ride at the park here because ultimately we never actually experienced a lot of it. There are still some great possible attractions that you can go and experience at PortAventura World. El Diablo del Tren de la Mina is a basic bog standard mine train by Aerodynamics. Not the best coasters. Honestly, the Runaway Mine Train is a much superior coaster. I guarantee you will be coming off it and just feeling meh. There is also the Sesame Street themed area with Sesame Street Mission, which is an interactive dark ride experience, something of the akin to the likes of Toon Blast at Chester World of Adventures. Not a bad ride. It's nicely well themed, and I believe functionality wise it's a lot more interactive than what you could be expecting. There is also a kids roller coaster called Tammy Tammy. You've also got a bunch of flat rides within the area as well, and just across the park. Not to mention the shows. The one show that always stands out from when I've heard about it is Temple del Fuego. Basically like an Indiana Jones meets his fate as he tries to steal the treasure from the lines. There is also a sitting restaurant that has its own show, but you have to order food. However, as we're not really show type of people, it wasn't really for us. However, that does not exclude it. Go and experience it. If anything, go and check out Your Experience Guide. They do some great talks about these shows as they are regulars to the theme park. Those are some really great opinions when you want to see about the shows. Go and give them a watch. But overall, there is a nice selection of attractions at the park. I can't help but feel though, in terms of PortAventura, there is something else that they could do to the park. Bear in mind, I know they wouldn't probably ever touch it, but they've got a whole land when you walk into the park over the water. A nice water coaster there would be something interesting to see. It'd be something that really would help the park stand out as well. The main issue you will encounter whenever you go to PortAventura though will be operations. It is renowned for being one of the worst in the park. The lack of queue times, the overselling of their express pass. Be prepared to wait some long times in these queues because it's just not managed at the best of times. You can go watch any video on YouTube, they will say this. So be prepared and be careful of what you're going to be doing when you go to PortAventura World. Another thing you may want to consider when going to PortAventura World is how many days you go for, and this kind of links into what I'm about to talk about with the second park on the PortAventura World. For us, we went for 2 days. Now, we wanted to experience as much of the park as we could, and we did get to experience a lot of it. Again, there are some rides we missed, but ultimately we still got to experience those classic high thrills and also sample a lot of the area without feeling like we'd overstayed our welcome. So in my personal opinion, go and experience a minimum of 2 days at PortAventura World, with poor operations as well, and sometimes ride availability not always being the best with staggered openings. You might want to go and experience 2 days to make sure you get everything in. And sometimes when you include it onto those days, you could go and experience a Ferrari World. Opening back in 2017, Ferrari World opens as a second theme park to the PortAventura World. Given by the title, it is themed around Lamborghini. Now, what makes this park very good, by the way, that was Ferrari if you didn't get the joke. Given the rides that are available at Ferrari World, is it worth the admission?
Yes. You didn't think so, but I did.
No. Simply put, there is only one attraction you will want to experience if you go to Ferrari World, and that is, of course, Red Force. It stands as the tallest roller coaster in the world. When we went, it was no longer it wasn't the tallest roller coaster in the world because of King Dakar.
Rest in peace, King Dakar.
As its demolition, though, it now stands as the tallest roller coaster in the world. Jade, why did we not go on it?
Ben didn't want to.
I was too scared of the lap bars, and once again, the height gets over you. Bear in mind, let's put this into context here. Bear in mind, the parks we'd only gone to prior to this point was Drayton Manor and Alton Towers. So, still trying to broaden our horizons here. But Red Force is an intimate launch roller coaster, LSMs, similar to the likes of Stealth at Thorpe Park. However, this is much higher, much faster. Excuse me, I had a burp. Much faster, and it is something that, if you want to kind of make yourself stand out, go do Red Force. I promise you, it is genuinely a once-in-a-lifetime experience if you get to go on that. Something that really helps to, at least in that park, make it stand out.
Please like the video so that we can go back to PortAventura and fix Ben's mistake and do Red Force.
Please, we want to go back.
We didn't get to do Stealth. We didn't do Red Force. It was a big mistake. Like the video.
We want it all. But in terms of also what else you can experience at Ferrari World, the only thing we actually did do was the turbo towers, drop towers that they have. One is a shoot launch tower, one is a drop tower. We did the shoot launch, whatever you meant to call it. It's alright. It's a bit short, the sequence. You go up, down, blah, blah, blah. I like Destinator a lot more at Thorpe Park, really, and that was just a drop tower, but that felt more immersive. Also, Croc Drop at Chessington, one of Adventures, that was a very immersive ride as well. In terms of what else there is, though, there is a junior roller coaster, there is a Grand Prix type of ride if you ever did it at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. There is also 2 immersive dark rides, one to the likes of soaring at Disneyland, if you've ever experienced that, a great attraction, and then over to the side, a kind of similar one, but nowhere near as good. There is also just a general sense of kiddie rides, but nothing that really helps to make the park stand out.
As of recording, Launchpad opened a few days ago again.
Yes.
And because the park's got Hurricane Condor next door, so sometimes I think the turbo towers feel a bit redundant in comparison.
I think the whole point of the park is redundant. Don't get me wrong, like, if you're going for Red Force, then fair enough. But for me personally, you can't have a theme park, or have a second theme park, charge an extra admission if only one of the rides is the real standout there. Sure, everybody will get their kicks and thrills, and, the whole idea of these parks is to maximise ride capacity by eliminating queue times. But the problem is you're not really going to maximise that if there's only one ride that stands out, and you're not really offering enough alternatives for the park. However, there is a lot of great theming in the world, a lot of really nice shops that you could go and explore, and overall, if you want to maximise more of your stay at PortAventura World, go and experience Ferrari World and get yourself a ride in. Do what I couldn't do and go and experience Ferrari World. So there you go. There is a basic recap and a little bit of a guide if you're going to experience PortAventura World. Did you enjoy it when we went, and how does it rate compared to some of the other parks you visited?
I had the best time and it rated really highly. Should we do a highlight of each?
Shambhala.
Yeah, Shambhala. And biggest downfall?
Not going on Shambhala enough.
Not doing Red Force. And then maybe Operations.
And no more Shambhala.
Red Force, Shambhala.
Shambhala. But in terms of the overall part, the theming is absolutely great. Like I said, especially in the far west area, it really does help to make you immerse in that old Westfield shootout, old Westwood type of movie feel. The area for Shambhala is really well done as well. It's just a really nice park with some great attractions. You just can't help but feel that operations-wise, it could be done a bit better. So like I said, invest in 2 days, get your money's worth, and give yourself just, push yourself, because you're only going to experience it once potentially. Get yourself on Hurricane Condor, get yourself on Red Force.
Uncharted.
We don't care about Uncharted. Get yourself on Shambhala. Just get yourself on Shambhala. That's all I'm going to say there. But if you did enjoy this video and these guides, please leave a like down below. We'll try and do more UK parks, given that we're mostly there for the most part. But yeah, if you did enjoy those type of guide videos, please leave it in the comments down below. We hope you have enjoyed, and we will see you for another video.